Good evening and welcome into, what would have been the Michaela Hurst Show, joined alongside interim head coach for the time being of the varsity girls basketball team here at Metamora, Coach Bias. Great to have you tonight, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I kind of want to go through a little bit of that process of you getting the reins. It was kind of behind the scenes, before that Washington game that we covered a few weeks ago. Coach Hurst kind of had to leave unexpectedly and you kind of had to take the reins. Talk about that a little to us.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of an adjustment. It's been a lot of fun, though. The girls have really adapted to it, and I've been here for a couple of years now. This is my fourth year. So throughout the summer, occasionally I get to run practices. Just recently, last year, Coach had gotten married in June, which is a big time for summer basketball. So I was able to kind of get a little bit of head coaching experience in the summer. And then, as the season's progressed, it's been a lot of fun. Like I said, they've adapted to it really well. And really, they've all bought into, what we are trying to do as a program. And Coach Michaela still has her say in a lot of things, too. So,
you did pick up your first conference win the other night. Congratulations on that, Canton.
Thank you.
What'd you kind of see from your girls in that game that you kind of, they're growing, with those two losses they had against a tough Washington team and a tough Morton team. What's kind of the signs of growth that you saw in that Canton game?
Absolutely. We told them, the start of our conference schedule is very, very hard when you go to or play the number one team in the state and then also get Morton on the road. So we've told them we just got to stay true to the process. In that game against Canton, we really locked down defensively in the second half, which is a lot of fun. We challenged them at halftime. We got off to a little bit of a slow start, and you can kind of see it. We played at Canton's pace, weren't really picking our spots very well. But come the second half, we started executing our chin very well, pushing the ball in transition, and then just getting stop after stop after stop, which is really what's kept us in most of our games.
I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here. If you had to pick a player of the game, or maybe two players of the game, who would they kind of have been for that first conference win that you picked up?
Yeah, I would say probably Bailey Nina. The way she's been defending the post, three-quarter front and getting a lot of deflections and being just a big post presence inside. She also runs the floor really well and is able to kind of hedge in our ball screen defense and is really just a complete player that helps us and keeps us all glued together offensively and defensively.
That's what I was really impressed with her. We covered that Morton game, that prelim for the boys game that night. She got in a little bit of foul trouble there, but it's kind of what happens when you're an aggressive post player there. And her game reminds me a lot of Zach Bourne, her hands, she's always got her hand on the ball. The motor's always high, Like, it's got to be a big help having a player kind of like that on the defensive side and then turn around and have her on offense as well.
Yep, so she, like I said, she does a lot for us defensively, but offensively she's also our pressure release, our biggest inside threat, and can put the ball on the floor and really get past some of the posts that we play this year, which is really nice to have, and is very unselfish, and will kick to our open shooters, which we have quite a bit of.
You're 6'2" and you run like that, It's got to be nice to have her on your team as a coach.
It does help, absolutely.
And you kind of talked about your shooters, that Washington game. You kind of had injury scare there. Talk to us a little bit about Coster's health now coming back. What are we looking for her timetable of return?
Yeah, so we're very happy with kind of how she's progressed. Jessica, our trainer Jessica has been absolutely phenomenal for us, for our players and for us as a staff. She's great to work with, and really we avoided a major injury with Leah, which is nice. So we're just going to try and ease her slowly back into things as we prep, and get ready to go into the new year, the Ottawa tournament coming up this week, and really look to get her back full strength here in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
It seems to be a wide consensus around it that hiring of the new trainer Jessica has kind of been maybe one of the best hires in athletic history here at the school.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a blast to work with, and the girls love her for sure.
And then you talked a little bit about the Ottawa Holiday Tournament. Talk to us about the schedule coming up. Who do we have? Who are we playing there? I know you have 2 games on that Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. So we travel to Ottawa Saturday morning, bright and early, with a 9 a.m. tip against Fieldcrest. They're a scrappy team, going to be really aggressive. I've always had really good teams growing up through the grade school level. So they're going to bring that same energy Saturday morning. We got to be able to match that. And then we also play at noon that night or that day against Streeter, which will also be good. Seeing a little bit of a different team, a team that could potentially be in our regional. So it's important that we get off to good starts up there and really fine-tune what we need to do in order to be successful going back in the conference.
9 a.m. tip, I'm trying to do that math in my head of when you guys are going to have to leave, like how's that going to affect you guys, playing, that far away in Ottawa and you're also playing at 9 a.m. It's not a school day either, too.
Yeah, it's going to be bright and early morning. We're getting some Bliss Bowls for our girls, so I know they're really excited about that to kind of get them going in the morning. We'll be looking to leave here probably around 6:45, 7, and we're going to tell them you're going to win that game in the first quarter. It's going to be the first 4 or 5 minutes. If you get off to a good start, we're going to be all right and do what we got to do.
Sounds great, Coach. And we'll take a time out here, and we'll talk a little bit more when we get back. Welcome back in. Coach, you have that, then you turn around with that, after that Ottawa Holiday Tournament, you're going to be playing Pekin, another Mid-Illini Conference team. What do we and it's a long way off, still got Christmas before that, but what do we kind of expect from Pekin? Because I do believe we're going to cover that game as well. Yeah,
Pekin's a really solid team. With them being our next conference opponent, we have started to look at film, things like that for them. They're really solid. They're very well coached. They take care of the ball really well, and they've got some good athletes that can shoot it, put it on the floor. So it's going to be a test for us. They recently just beat Dunlap not that long ago. But yeah, they can score, so we're going to have to defend and play a full 4 quarters, that's for sure.
Does their game kind of model, one of those other Mid-Illini teams you've kind of seen, the Washington, the Morton, or the Canton?
Yeah, I think they uniquely, they're kind of similar to a Morton with their size and their guards. But really, they run a lot of good stuff. It's going to be defending a lot of different actions, being able to recognize, kind of read, what they're in. And then for us, executing-wise, it's going to be a lot of man-to-man defense, and we're going to be ready to execute for that.
And I would like to say that Morton game, I was really impressed, especially the first 2.5 quarters of the defense, the defensive tenacity, I guess is what I would say. And then how we were able to, we're at their place, it's one of the hardest places to play in the Mid-Illini. And you just keep responding, you're hanging in there. Then all of a sudden, they remember an 0 for 2 with 2 air ball threes, and all of a sudden their threes start to go and they start to pull away. I guess that's kind of how basketball is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we give a lot of credit to Morton. They hit some timely shots, especially some big threes there late in that second half. But we told the girls we just got to keep grinding. We had them right where we wanted them the whole time. Over our last 3 games, we've had multiple stretches in the fourth quarter where we've held Lincoln, Morton, and Canton to over 3.5 minutes scoreless in the fourth quarter. So if we are able to keep doing that game after game where we're holding teams scoreless for nearly half of the fourth quarter, we're going to be pretty successful and going to close out a lot of games.
Yeah, and you kind of shifting gears now back. I guess still back in the Mid-Illini, but you guys do have a young team. We're kind of seeing it with the boys team as well. When the lights shine bright, it's kind of hard to close a game or finish a game. Talk us through what it is like having a younger team. You still have a senior base and your 2 guards, but you do have a younger team. How does that kind of factor in?
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of our preparation. We try and put them in a lot of tough situations during practice. So when the game does come, it is a little bit easier. Hopefully the game's a little bit more slowed down to them. But really, our unselfishness has been able to, get us to where we're at right now. We got to be able to continue that and keep playing for each other, playing with energy and passion, and a lot of good things are going to happen.
And kind of one of the last things I want to talk about is your depth on your bench. We've seen it from the boys team. I guess I'm talking about the boys wteam too, but really deep bench. What's it like having deep bench? You're not really losing a whole lot as you go to the bench, and you have bodies. We saw it in the Morton game. You went pretty deep in the bench there. You got into foul trouble with Nina. I think Peterson might have had 2 or 3 fouls as well.
Yep.
You could be able to bring in Hand, and you still have Ledbetter and Seckler off the bench too for your guards. Kind of what's that like?
It's really nice to have, especially with everyone being healthy again. We had Jay out for a couple weeks for a concussion, and then obviously Leah was out for a little bit too. So that really opened up a lot of opportunities for people to step up. Junie Wagner's been playing really good basketball. Ella Seckler has given us really good minutes, and even Caitlin Hand has also given us a lot of good minutes. So it is nice, especially in practice. We've been able to see them kind of grow into their roles while people, were sidelined, and then, kind of just running with their roles. And now it's really a lot of fun being able to kind of incorporate everyone back, get back to full strength, and, going from there.
You beat me too. I was going to talk about kind of, that you have that depth on the bench, that probably makes running scout team a little bit easier, running 5-on-5 in practice. Mm-hmm. It only gets you better.
Yeah, absolutely. They've done really well, and, a lot of good practices this week.
And then as we look forward to this Ottawa Holiday Tournament and this conference game against Pekin, we'll end with this. What are you kind of looking for your girls to improve on as we get into this next holiday stretch?
Keeping the intensity, keeping our focus on where it needs to be. We just got our subsectional seedings, or I guess pairings. So we, have an idea of who we might be seeing come February time. So we're staying tunnel visioned on, our goal, and we're taking it day by day, game by game. And, we want to be playing our best basketball towards the end of the season, not here in the middle of December. So, if we get 1% better every single day, we're going to be doing what we need to do come regional time.
Well, Coach, thank you. We'll let you get going.
Awesome.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That'll do it here in the for the Andrew Bias Show.